Why do they keep looking at you? Why do strangers turn their heads when you walk into a room? Why do conversations pause when you pass by? You think it is random. You think it is coincidence. You think it is about your clothes, your face, your posture. But deep inside, you feel something else. You feel that it is deeper than appearance. You feel that it is spiritual. You feel that there is something happening beyond the surface. And you are right. This is not ordinary attention. This is not curiosity. This is not accident. This is what happens when God places a mark of distinction on a life. This is what happens when God breathes purpose into a person. This is what happens when the invisible presence of God begins to radiate through someone who may not even realize their own calling yet. There is a reason you cannot blend in. There is a reason you cannot disappear into the crowd. There is a reason you feel exposed even when you are silent. When God chooses to elevate a life, He does not always announce it with noise. Sometimes He announces it with attention. Sometimes He allows your presence to speak before your mouth ever opens. You walk into a place and you feel eyes on you. You feel energy shift. You feel awareness rise. It is because purpose carries weight. Destiny has gravity. And when God assigns destiny, it pulls attention without permission. You were never created to be ordinary. You were never designed to be background noise. You are formed by God with intention, crafted with precision, and sealed with divine potential. The world responds to what God has placed inside you, even when the world cannot explain it. Strangers stare because something in their spirit recognizes something in yours. They may not understand it, they may not have language for it, but they sense it. They sense authority. They sense depth. They sense that you are not just existing, you are becoming. Some people stare because they are drawn to light. When God begins to awaken purpose in you, light begins to shine through your eyes. It shines through your posture. It shines through your silence. You do not have to force it. You do not have to perform. The presence of God in a surrendered life is magnetic. It attracts attention naturally. Darkness always reacts to light. Confusion always reacts to clarity. Weakness always reacts to strength. When you carry in a conviction given by God, people feel it before they hear it. But understand this, not all staring is admiration. Some of it is confusion, some of it is intimidation, some of it is conviction. When you carry a strong spirit shaped by trust in God, you challenge environments without saying a word. You remind people of discipline when they are compromising. You remind people of faith when they are doubting. You remind people of purpose when they are drifting. Your presence becomes a mirror. And not everyone is comfortable looking into a mirror. Have you noticed that you can be doing nothing, yet you feel watched? It is because calling creates awareness. When God sets someone apart, He allows their life to provoke reactions. Even before you step into your full assignment, the atmosphere begins to prepare. The stares are not random. They are signals. They are whispers from the unseen world saying, there is something here. The world is sensitive to purpose, even when it resists it. You may have tried to shrink yourself. You may have tried to walk smaller, talk softer, hide your strength, but you cannot hide what God has decided to reveal. When God puts favor on a life, it is visible. When God assigns leadership, it is felt. When God prepares someone for influence, attention follows them like a shadow. And sometimes that attention feels heavy. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is often the beginning of elevation. Strangers stare because they sense confidence that is not arrogance. They sense peace that is not passive. They sense stability that is not fragile. And that kind of presence only comes from deep trust in God. When you stop seeking validation from people and start seeking alignment with God, your entire energy shifts. You walk differently. You carry yourself differently. You breathe differently. And people notice. There is something about a person who knows that God is guiding their steps. It creates boldness without aggression. It creates humility without weakness. It creates authority without shouting. And that balance is rare. Rarity attracts attention. Depth attracts attention. Conviction attracts attention. You are not being stared at because you are strange. You are being stared at because you are uncommon. Sometimes the staring happens because people see potential in you that they do not see in themselves. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your vision exposes their aimlessness. Your peace exposes their chaos. And instead of asking how to grow, they simply look. Instead of seeking transformation, they observe it from a distance. You become a silent sermon. Your existence becomes a message. And God uses your quiet consistency to speak to hearts you may never know about. Do not misunderstand the staring as rejection. Do not misundertake the attention as hostility every time. Sometimes it is curiosity, sometimes it is hope. You may be the first example of unwavering faith someone has seen. You may be the first person they have observed who refuses to compromise values for approval. You may be the first reflection of what surrender to God truly looks like, and that is powerful. When God begins to prepare someone for greater responsibility, He often increases visibility first. Visibility is training. Visibility builds resilience. Visibility forces you to refine your character. Because when eyes are on you, integrity matters more. When attention increases, discipline must deepen. God allows the staring to shape you. He allows the pressure to strengthen you. He allows the awareness to purify your motives. You ask, why me? And God whispers, because I trust you. He trusts you with influence. He trusts you with attention. He trusts you with weight. And trust from God is not light. It is sacred. It requires maturity. It requires constant alignment. The staring is not the reward. It is the preparation. There are people who cannot explain why they are drawn to you. They cannot articulate it. They just feel something different. That difference is alignment. When a person aligns their heart with God, their presence changes. There is clarity in their gaze. There is steadiness in their steps. There is intention in their silence. And intention is rare in a distracted world. You are living in a time where authenticity is scarce. Most people are performing. Most people are pretending. Most people are hiding. But when someone stands in truth, rooted in God, they stand out automatically. Strangers stare because authenticity disrupts performance. Truth disrupts illusion. And you are carrying something real. Do not be afraid of being seen. Do not shrink because of attention. If God wanted you hidden, He would keep you hidden. If God wanted you unnoticed, He would dim your light. But if you are being noticed, it is because there is something to be noticed. There is something. And let me tell you something powerful. The more you embrace your identity in God, the more visible you will become. Not because you are chasing attention, but because purpose cannot be concealed forever. You were not created to dissolve into the background of someone else's story. You were created to fulfill an assignment written before you ever took your first breath. The staring is a reminder. It is a reminder that you carry responsibility. It is a reminder that you carry influence. It is a reminder that you cannot live carelessly. When eyes are on you, choices matter more. Words matter more. Integrity matters more. God is shaping you through visibility. Some stare because they feel challenged. You challenge comfort zones without speaking. You challenge mediocrity by simply existing with excellence. You challenge doubt by walking with confidence rooted in God. And when you challenge people's limitations, they either grow or they observe from a distance. But hear this clearly. Never allow attention to define you. Let God define you. Attention fluctuates, approval shifts, opinions change. But the purpose of God remains constant. If you anchor yourself in Him, The staring will not inflate your ego or crush your spirit. It will simply become part of the journey. There are moments when you will feel isolated because of this visibility. You will feel like you cannot relax. You will feel like you are always being evaluated. In those moments, return to God. Remember who you belong to. Remember who guides you. Remember who protects you. When you stand under His authority, no stare can harm you. The world is sensitive to destiny. It recognizes when someone is moving with direction. You may not have achieved everything yet. You may still be building, still growing, still learning, but growth under the guidance of God creates a distinct presence. It creates depths in your eyes. It creates calm in your decisions. And that calm unsettles chaos. Strangers stare because your spirit is not restless. It is anchored. It is not desperate. It is grounded. When you are grounded in God, you do not need to prove yourself loudly. You simply live with conviction. And conviction has a vibration. It communicates without effort. There are people who will try to interpret your visibility negatively. They will say you are seeking attention. They will say you think you are better. But they do not understand that when God elevates someone, elevation is visible. It cannot be hidden. An elevatio. N is not pride. It is responsibility. The key is humility. Always remember that whatever draws attention is a gift from God. It is not self-created. It is not self-sustained. It is grace. When you remember that, you stay grounded. When you remember that, you remain teachable. When you remember that, you remain protected. You are being stared at because you are becoming who God designed you to be. You are shedding insecurity. You are shedding confusion. And transformation is noticeable. Growth changes posture. Healing changes expression. Clarity changes energy. Let them stare. Let them wonder. Let them question. Your assignment is not to control perception. Your assignment is to walk faithfully. Your assignment is to stay aligned. Your assignment is to trust God even when visibility increases. The same attention that feels uncomfortable today will become influence tomorrow. The same awareness that feels heavy today will become authority tomorrow. God does not waste visibility. He uses it. He refines it. He multiplies it. So when you feel those eyes on you, do not shrink. Stand firm. Breathe deeply. Remember who you are. Remember whose you are. Remember that God does not place light in someone to hide it. He places light to illuminate paths. You are not being stared at by accident. You are being recognized by destiny. And destiny, when activated by God, demands attention. And let me take you deeper, because what you are experiencing is not just attention. It is revelation in motion. When strangers stare at you, it is often because something about you refuses to bow to the atmosphere around you. You do not adjust your values to fit the room. You do not dilute your convictions to gain comfort. You stand, you remain, you endure. And endurance under the authority of God creates a spiritual weight that others can feel even if they cannot define it. There is a fragrance that comes from a life that has been tested and refined by God. It is not the fragrance of perfection. It is the fragrance of perseverance. It is the scent of someone who has cried in private but walked in public with dignity. It is the presence of someone who has faced storms yet refused to curse their destiny. People stare because they sense resilience. They sense strength that was earned in silence. And silent victories create visible power. You must understand that visibility is often a sign that transition is near. Before God elevates a person into greater influence, He allows their presence to be recognized in smaller rooms. He prepares the environment to recognize what He is about to release. The staring is rehearsal. It is preparation for platforms you have not even imagined. It is the early signal that your life is about to move from unnoticed to undeniable. Do not misinterpret attention as interruption. It is instruction. It is shaping you to carry yourself with awareness. When you know eyes are on you, you learn discipline. You learn to guard your reactions. You learn to measure your words. You learn to walk with intention. God uses visibility to mature you. He teaches you how to represent Him with integrity, because when you are seen, you are representing more than yourself. There is also another dimension you must consider. Sometimes strangers stare because your spirit disturbs their complacency. You remind them of dreams they abandoned. You remind them of prayers they stopped praying. You remind them of the version of themselves they were called to become but never pursued. And instead of confronting their own hesitation, they fix their gaze on you. Your courage exposes their compromise. Your faith challenges their fear. And yet, do not grow bitter because of it. Do not let misunderstanding harden your heart. The one who walks with God must carry compassion. If they stare because they are intimidated, respond with humility. If they stare because they are curious, respond with grace. If they stare because they are threatened, respond with calm authority. Your reaction must reflect the one who guides you. There is power in knowing that your life is being observed. Observation creates responsibility, and responsibility produces greatness when handled correctly. You are being trained to lead, even if you do not yet carry a title. Leadership begins long before recognition. It begins with character. It begins with consistency. It begins with private obedience to God. And when private obedience becomes strong enough, public recognition follows naturally. The world is hungry for authenticity. People are exhausted by pretenders. They are tired of noise without substance. When someone carries depth, it disrupts superficiality. When someone walks with peace rooted in God, it unsettles anxiety. That is why you feel watched. You are walking at a different frequency. You are not rushing with the crowd. You are not panicking with the majority. You are steady, and steadiness is rare. You may think you are ordinary because you see your own flaws, you see your own weaknesses, you know your private struggles. But what you forget is that God is shaping you in places no one else sees. While you were wrestling in prayer, while you were choosing integrity over shortcuts, while you were forgiving when you could have retaliated, God was building something inside you. That inner architecture now reflects outwardly, and people sense it. There is also a prophetic element to attention. When God is about to use someone in a greater way, there is often a stirring in the atmosphere around them. The environment begins to shift. Opportunities begin to align, encounters begin to multiply, and attention increases. Not because you are chasing it, but because purpose is attracting it. You are entering rooms you once prayed about. You are walking into spaces that once intimidated you. And now, instead of shrinking, you stand. That transformation does not go unnoticed. Listen carefully. Attention is not the destination. Alignment with God is. If attention grows but alignment weakens, you will lose your foundation. But if alignment grows stronger as attention increases, you will become unstoppable. Guard your heart, guard your motives. Do not let admiration corrupt your humility. Do not let criticism steal your peace. Keep your eyes fixed on God, and everything else will remain in its proper place. Strangers stare because they sense clarity in you. Clarity is powerful. It speaks without words. A person who knows their direction moves differently. They are not easily distracted. They are not easily shaken. When your decisions are anchored in trust in God, you do not sway with every opinion. That stability creates intrigue. People are drawn to those who are not confused about who they are. And let me speak to those moments when the staring feels uncomfortable, when it feels heavy, when it feels like pressure on your shoulders. That pressure is refining you. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Character is formed under scrutiny. When people observe you, you learn to refine your impulses. You learn to elevate your thinking. You learn to represent God with greater care. The weight you feel is shaping your capacity. There are seasons in life when God hides you, and there are seasons when He highlights you. If you are being highlighted, it means the hidden season accomplished its purpose. It means the foundation has been laid. It means the roots have grown deep enough to support the visibility of the branches. You are no longer in preparation only. You are in demonstration. And demonstration attracts witnesses. Never assume that those who stare are against you. Some are silently learning from you. Some are studying your discipline. Some are drawing inspiration from your courage. You may never hear their stories, but your example is shaping their decisions. A life surrendered to God becomes a living testimony without needing a microphone. At the same time, you must develop discernment. Not every gaze carries good intention. Some look with admiration, others look with envy, some look with curiosity, others look with calculation. But when you remain aligned with God, you are protected. The one who walks under divine guidance does not fear observation. You stand secure because your You are not being stared at because you are trying too hard. You are being stared at because you are no longer trying to be someone else. Authenticity shines. When you stop competing, when you stop comparing, when you stop shrinking, something shifted. You began to occupy your space fully. And when a person fully occupies their space, the world takes notice. There are confirmations. They confirm that growth has occurred. They confirm that transformation is visible. They confirm that God is doing something undeniable in your life. And instead of questioning it, embrace it. Instead of doubting it, steward it. Walk with your head high, not in pride, but in gratitude. Let your posture reflect trust. Let your eyes reflect peace. Let your speech reflect wisdom. The more you grow in awareness of who you are under God's authority, the more confident you will become. Not loud, not arrogant, but secure. Security is magnetic. It does not beg for validation. It radiates assurance that will be moment chats when the staring increases right before a breakthrough. That is not coincidence. When God is about to open a new chapter, the atmosphere responds. People sense momentum. They feel that something is shifting around you. Stay focused. Do not get distracted by the attention. Keep preparing. Keep praying. Keep refining your character. And when doors begin to open, when opportunities begin to expand, when your voice begins to carry influence, remember this season. Remember when you wondered why strangers kept staring? It was preparation. It was confirmation. It was the early sign that you were stepping into alignment with destiny. You are not invisible. You are not overlooked. You are not insignificant. You are seen not just by people, but by God. And when God sees someone walking faithfully, He does not keep them hidden forever. He reveals them at the right time in the right place for the right purpose. So if you feel watched, do not panic. If you feel noticed, do not retreat. If you feel highlighted, do not apologize. Stand firm in your identity. Deepen your relationship with God. Strengthen your discipline. Let the attention shape you, not shake you. You are entering a season where your presence will carry influence. Your words will carry weight. Your decisions will create ripple effects. And it all begins with understanding that the staring is not random. It is the echo of destiny calling your name. It is the signal that you are stepping into the fullness of what God designed you to be. And now I need you to understand something that may shake you, something that may awaken you at a deeper level. The staring is not just about who you are now, it is about who you are becoming. There is a future version of you that already exists in the decree of God. There is a stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more influential version of you that heaven has already authorized. And sometimes the world begins to sense that future before you fully step into it. They are not only reacting to your present, they are reacting to your potential. Potential has energy. It carries anticipation. When God plants greatness inside a human being, That seed vibrates with purpose. Even when it has not fully grown, even when it is still developing, it emits something. People feel it. They may not understand why they cannot ignore you. They may not understand why your presence interrupts their focus. But purpose has a presence of its own. You must also recognize that spiritual authority does not always look dramatic. It often looks calm, it looks composed, it looks disciplined. And when someone carries quiet authority rooted in God, it unsettles environments built on noise. You do not need to compete for attention because your authority does not come from people. It comes from alignment, and alignment with God produces confidence that does not beg for applause. Some stare because they are trying to measure you. They are trying to calculate your strength. They are trying to understand your depth. They are trying to decide whether you are temporary or lasting. And the more consistent you remain, the more their calculations fail. Because a life grounded in God cannot be measured by surface observation. It is anchored in something eternal. There is also this truth. When you refuse to compromise your values, you become rare. And rarity draws attention. When you choose integrity in a culture that celebrates shortcuts, when you choose patience in a generation addicted to speed, when you choose faith over fear, you stand out. And standing out is not always comfortable, but comfort was never the requirement for destiny. Obedience to God was. Let me speak directly to your heart. You are being prepared for influence beyond your imagination. Influence does not begin when you have a platform. Influence begins when your character becomes unshakable. The staring is building your resilience. It is teaching you not to crumble under pressure. It is teaching you to remain focused when distractions increase. God is strengthening your inner foundation so that when elevation comes, you do not fall under its weight. There is a discipline that must develop when attention grows. You must guard your thoughts. You must guard your emotions. You must guard your reactions, because visibility magnifies everything. A small mistake becomes larger under observation. A small act of kindness becomes powerful under observation. The more you are seen, the more intentional you must become. And intention is the mark of maturity. Some of you have felt isolated because of this attention. You have felt different. You have felt misunderstood. You have felt like you do not fully fit anywhere. But understand this clearly. Separation often precedes assignment. When God is preparing someone for greater impact, He allows them to feel distinct, not to punish them, but to position them. Distinction is not rejection, it is refinement. And let us go even deeper. Sometimes strangers stare because your peace confronts their chaos. When storms hit their lives, they panic. When uncertainty rises, they crumble. But when storms approached you, you sought God. When uncertainty surrounded you, you prayed. When pressure increased, you trusted. That trust reshaped you, it strengthened you, and now you carry a calmness that does not match your circumstances. That kind of peace is powerful. Peace that is rooted in God is not fragile. It is not dependent on outcomes. It is not shaken by opinions. It stands firm because it is anchored beyond the visible. And when people see someone unshaken in a shaking world, they look, they observe, they wonder how. You become a silent answer to a question they have not dared to ask. There is also a level of spiritual sensitivity involved. The human spirit can recognize alignment. When someone is walking in step with God's guidance, there is harmony in their movements. There is clarity in their decisions. There is weight in their silence. And that harmony resonates. It creates awareness. It pulls attention with identity. Your identity is not in who watches you. Your identity is in who created you. Your identity is not in who admires you. It is in who formed you. And as long as you remember that, you will never be intoxicated by recognition or crushed by criticism. Let me remind you of something powerful. God does not waste seasons. If you are in a season of visibility, there is a reason. If you are in a season of observation, there is purpose. Nothing is random. Every stare, every reaction, every whisper around you is part of a larger unfolding. You are being positioned, you are being shaped, you are being elevated internally before you are elevated externally. Some stare because they sense leadership in you. Leadership is not loud, it is not about domination. It is about responsibility, it is about vision, it is about courage under pressure. When you walk with responsibility, even in small matters, when you handle tasks with excellence, even when no one is clapping, you cultivate leadership. And leadership attracts attention naturally. There are individuals watching you who will one day follow your example. They are studying how you respond to difficulty. They are studying how you handle success. They are studying how you carry yourself when misunderstood. You may never know their names, but your life is leaving impressions. That is why your alignment with God must remain your priority, because influence without alignment becomes dangerous. But influence with alignment becomes transformative. Do not grow weary of being noticed. Grow stronger in character. Do not grow anxious about being watched. Grow deeper in prayer. Do not become obsessed with perception. Become obsessed with obedience. When obedience becomes your focus, attention becomes irrelevant. You move with clarity. You move with conviction. You move with purpose. There is something sacred about knowing that your life matters enough to be observed. It means you are not invisible in the grand design. It means your steps are echoing. It means your growth is visible. It means your transformation is undeniable. And transformation is the evidence of God's work within you. When you were broken, they did not stare. When you were uncertain, they did not notice. But now that you are rising, now that you are stable, now that you are confident, attention follows. That is not coincidence. That is confirmation. It confirms that healing has occurred. It confirms that growth has taken root. It confirms that you are no longer who you used to be. Let the staring remind you to remain humble. Let it remind you to remain grateful. Let it remind you to remain disciplined. Because the higher you rise, the more visible you become. And the more visible you become, the more essential integrity becomes. God elevates those who can handle elevation. He entrusts influence to those who remain surrendered. You are stepping into a dimension where your presence will shift atmospheres. You will walk into rooms and bring clarity. You will enter conversations and bring wisdom. You will face challenges and bring calm. And all of it begins with understanding that the attention you experience now is the early ripple of a larger impact. There will come a time when the same people who stared silently will seek your counsel. The same eyes that observed from a distance will look to you for direction. And when that time comes, you must be ready. Ready in character, ready in discipline, ready in faith. Preparation happens before opportunity announces itself. So embrace this season, embrace the awareness, embrace the responsibility. Let it sharpen you, let it refine you, let it strengthen you. Do not run from visibility. Grow into it, expand within it, deepen your connection with God within it. You are not just being seen, you are being prepared. You are not just being noticed, you are being positioned. And every step is a reminder that your life carries weight, your journey carries meaning, and your alignment with God is creating a presence that cannot be ignored. And now I want you to rise even higher in your understanding, because what you are experiencing is not just visibility, it is separation. God separates before He elevates. He distinguishes before He promotes. When strangers keep staring at you, it is often because you no longer blend into the patterns that surround you. Your thinking has changed. Your priorities have shifted. Your desires have matured. And when inner transformation becomes real, outer distinction becomes unavoidable. You are no longer entertained by what once distracted you. You are no longer impressed by what once intimidated you. You are no longer moved by what once controlled you. That shift is powerful. It changes your posture, it changes your eyes, it changes the energy you carry into a room. People can feel when someone is no longer seeking approval. They can feel when someone is no longer desperate for validation. And freedom from validation creates authority. Authority rooted in God is quiet but undeniable. It does not scream, it does not beg, it does not chase. It stands. And when you stand firmly in who God created you to be, people look because they sense stability. In a world where so many are shaken by trends, opinions, and pressures, stability looks unusual. And what is unusual captures attention. There is something else happening beneath the surface. When you commit your path to God, your timing changes. You are no longer racing against others. You are no longer comparing your progress. You are walking according to divine rhythm. That rhythm may be slower at times, but it is deeper. It may be quieter at times, but it is stronger. And when someone moves with rhythm instead of rush, it commands respect without asking for it. Some stare because they are trying to understand your silence. They expect reaction, but you remain calm. They expect retaliation, but you remain composed. They expect insecurity, but you remain confident. That composure is not weakness, it is discipline. And discipline is built in hidden seasons with God, in moments when no one was watching but Him. Never forget this. What is visible now was built in private. The confidence they see was formed in moments of doubt that you overcame. The peace they see was formed in nights when you wrestled with fear but chose trust. The clarity they see was formed in confusion that you surrendered to God. Your present presence is the result of past surrender. And surrender produces strength. Let me challenge you, do not waste this season by becoming self-conscious. Do not become overly aware of who is watching you. Become more aware of who is guiding you. If you focus on people, you will become anxious. If you focus on God, you will become anchored. Anchored people do not drift. When attention rises, they remain steady. Some of you have mistaken the staring as judgment. You have assumed people are criticizing you in their minds. But even if they are, that does not define you. Criticism cannot cancel purpose. Observation cannot erase destiny. Opinions cannot override what God has already written for your life. When know that your steps are ordered by divine wisdom. External noise loses its power. There's also a deeper truth. Light exposes. When you carry moral clarity, when you walk in integrity, when you refuse to compromise your principles, your presence exposes hidden motives around you. Exposure makes people uncomfortable. They may not say it, they may not admit it, but something in them feels revealed. And instead of confronting themselves, they look at you. Do not dim your light to make others comfortable. Do not reduce your standards to avoid attention. God did not strengthen you so you could shrink. He strengthened you so you could stand firm in environments that need example. Example is more powerful than explanation. Your consistency speaks louder than arguments ever could. There are moments when attention increases right before acceleration. Acceleration requires awareness. If you are about to move into greater influence, you must learn how to handle visibility without losing humility. That is why this season matters. It is teaching you balance. It is teaching you how to carry weight without becoming heavy in pride. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means recognizing that everything good within you comes from God. When you remember the source, you remain grounded. When you forget the source, you become unstable. And instability under visibility leads to downfall. Guard your humility as fiercely as you guard your ambition. Some stare because they sense discipline in your walk. Discipline is rare. It shows in how you speak. It shows in how you listen. It shows in how you carry your responsibilities. A disciplined life radiates order. And order stands out in chaotic spaces. When you bring order into a room, you shift its energy. People feel that shift. Others stare because they sense that you are not easily manipulated. You do not bend under pressure. You do not fold under intimidation. You do not crumble under scrutiny. That resilience comes from trusting God more than you trust approval. When your confidence is rooted in divine guidance, it becomes difficult for human opinion to control you. Let me remind you of something powerful. You were not created to chase attention. You were created to carry assignment. If attention comes, let it come. If it increases, let it increase. But never allow it to distract you from your mission. Stay focused, stay disciplined, stay surrendered. There will be moments when you feel misunderstood because of your growth. You may outgrow environments, you may outgrow conversations, you may outgrow relationships that once felt comfortable. Growth creates distance, not because you are better, but because you are evolving. And evolution changes alignment. People notice when you are no longer accessible in the same way. They notice when your focus sharpens. Do not apologize for growth. Do not retreat because evolution feels lonely. Trust that God is guiding your transformation. Every shift has purpose. Every change has design. And every new level of awareness will require a new level of responsibility. The eyes that follow you are reminders that you cannot live carelessly anymore. You are becoming an example whether you intended to or not. That is not pressure, it is privilege. It means your life has weight. It means your decisions matter beyond you. It means your journey has influence, and influence must be protected. Protect your time, protect your energy, protect your focus. When you are visible, distractions multiply. Opportunities appear that may not align with your calling. Invitations may sound flattering, but lead you away from purpose. Discernment becomes essential. Seek guidance from God before making decisions. Do not let ion rush you into commitments that are not ordained. There is also joy in this season if you choose to see it. Joy in knowing that your transformation is evident. Joy in knowing that your discipline is visible. Joy in knowing that your peace is contagious. You are no longer invisible in your own story. You are actively shaping it with intention. Some stare because they are witnessing the courage it takes to be authentic. Authenticity requires bravery. It requires rejecting imitation. It requires embracing your uniqueness. And when you fully embrace who God created you to be, you release comparison. Comparison chains fall, and freedom begins to radiate outwardly. Freedom is noticeable when someone is no longer enslaved to insecurity, they move differently. When someone is no longer bound by fear of rejection, they speak differently. When someone is no longer driven by competition, they breathe differently. That freedom is powerful, and it draws attention naturally. You are stepping into a phase where your life will speak louder than your words. Your consistency will preach. Your discipline will inspire. Your calmness will reassure. And it all begins with understanding that the staring is not a threat. It is a sign that you are growing, a sign that God is shaping you for something greater than your current environment. Do not let this season intimidate you. Let it empower you. Let it elevate your standards even higher. Continue seeking God. Continue strengthening your character. Continue building your inner life. Because the truth is this: when a person fully aligns with the will of God, they cannot remain unnoticed. Their presence carries weight. Their walk carries purpose. Their life carries impact. And the world, whether it understands it or not, cannot help but look. So now you understand the stairs never random. The attention was never accidental. The weight you felt was never imagination. It was confirmation, it was preparation, it was revelation. You are not being watched because you are strange. You are being watched because you are shifting. You are not being noticed because you are trying to stand out. You are being noticed because you finally stood firm in who God created you to be. Every season of isolation built your strength. Every private battle refined your character. Every tear you shed in silence strengthened your spirit. And now that inner work is visible, now that surrender is shining, now that discipline is radiating, the world responds to what God has formed within you. Do not fear visibility. Steward it. Do not resent attention. Mature through it. Do not shrink under observation. Rise with responsibility. Because when God allows a life to be seen, it is not for vanity, it is for impact. It is not for ego. It is for example. It is not for applause. It is for assignment. You were never meant to disappear into the background of history. You were shaped with intention, guided with precision, and strengthened with purpose. And when purpose begins to manifest, eyes will follow. Let them. Walk boldly but humbly. Stand confidently but gently. Speak wisely but sparingly. Let your life reflect discipline. Let your presence reflect peace. The steering is not your destination. Alignment with God is. And as long as you remain anchored in Him, no attention can corrupt you, no criticism can break you, and no pressure can stop you, because what God has ordained cannot be undone by human perception. So when you walk into your next room and feel the eyes again, do not lower your head. Lift it with gratitude, not in pride, but in awareness. Awareness that you are becoming. Awareness that you are entrusted. Awareness that you are carrying something greater than yourself. You are seen because you are called. You are noticed because you are prepared. You are watched because you are rising. And as you continue to surrender, to discipline your heart, to seek God above all else, your presence will only grow stronger, your influence deeper, and your impact wider. Not for your glory, but as a reflection of the one who formed you, guided you, and sustained you through every unseen battle. Stand firm, stay faithful, keep walking. Let them stare, let them wonder. Let them question, because the life fully aligned with God cannot remain hidden, cannot remain ordinary, and cannot remain unnoticed.